Welcome to the ladies' dressing room. Today we are talking about one of my favorite things, which is storage, and how we would store either our off-season items or just the extra dresses or extra items that we have within our wardrobe, even within a season. So let's start with the off-season and why it's so great to make sure that you're storing these items and they are not part of the everyday items that you would see. So even if you have a really large wardrobe or closet, this would be something that some would think, well, why go to the trouble of packing that away when I can just keep those items hung up? So a really good thing about storing items away is that it keeps them in better condition because they are not exposed to the dust and the dust. This is just one little aspect of it. The other thing is that you do not waste your time or your mental energy looking at those items or even sifting through them if you have them all together with everything that you already have within your wardrobe. Now, I understand that some would possibly put them in another section of their wardrobe, and you know, this might be great if you have cabinets. And truth be told, my ideal dressing room has just, it looks like wardrobe cabinets everywhere. They have mirrored doors on them. Sometimes I snap pictures of beautiful dressing rooms that I've seen that it would be like my dream dressing room, what I would love to do, because I would like to just be able to see what I want to use in a given time. And so that's kind of what I've created for myself, even in this larger dressing room that I now have, but it wasn't always so. And we actually just moved from a house recently that we had a walk-in closet, but we took out the wire shelves that they had in there and we just brought in our wardrobes from IKEA that we had, and they had like a standard closet size within it, and then another section of a cabinet that also had, well, that one was like not even half the size. It was pretty tiny. And I've used that for years and I loved that. I loved all the different ways that I was able to organize it and everything. So my point is, what is my point here? What am I getting at? That I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, but for instance, if you are like me and you don't want to feel the frustration of having to go through items that you're not going to be wearing, like they're not part of the options that you are going to be having in a given season or time, you just want in front of you what you are going to use. And so this is a great reason why one would want to pack items away, especially off-season clothing. So in the past, one of the things that I used to do was use fabric bins. I had IKEA fabric bins and I've shared those over the years, and then I ended up getting some IKEA like rattan, I think they were rattan or something like that, you know, basket containers that had lids on them, and they were actually for under the bed storage, but I used them for above our wardrobe storage. And I used to roll my dresses in there and pack those away, and it worked out really well. But I will say, because they were up high and they were a bit heavier, it wasn't as comfortable to take down and to put up as my fabric covered bins were. So you need to find what works best for you and what you don't mind doing. So that's for, say, off-season items. You know, you want to get out of your wardrobe anything that you're not going to be picking from within a season. But then I go a step further for me, because I am one that loves the beauty and simplicity that I've seen in capsule wardrobes. And of course, not all capsule wardrobes, you know, fit this criteria, but I was always really drawn to the look of that, and also just to beautiful color stories that I would see within shops, boutiques, just stores. And you know, within different seasons they would have different color arrangements that I just thought was so beautiful. And that, I realized, is what really made me want to buy something new, is because, well, I love the way that these colors look together, and how nice would that look in my wardrobe, etc. So that's when I really went down that color story journey, and I started creating these color stories for myself that I can enjoy weekly, and just go through my wardrobe. And you know, after I've washed all of my items, then I would be able to curate a beautiful color story and selection of items that I would get to enjoy for a week or 2 weeks. Usually it lasts a week, and then I'm ready for the next color story. But having great storage has made this possible for me. And not just great storage, and I'm not saying that it needed to be expensive or anything, but just for me, I liked having matching bins. I liked having things that they could even be boxes, things that I would put my items away in. Sometimes I would use my armoire drawers at the bottom. I've done countless things to be able to figure out organization for myself that would work within the time, the season, whatever the case may be. The possibilities are really endless, and we can reorganize our space endlessly. And for some of us, that's really fun. But I would say that it's good to figure out a system that works for you and that you enjoy using, and that just doesn't feel too overwhelming for you. So today I'm going to share with you how I've been organizing my dresses, and the dresses that I'm not currently using within the week. And maybe this could inspire you to figure out maybe a different way that you might want to organize yours, especially if you are going to, you know, incorporate the color story method for yourself. But two, I understand that that would more or less mean that, you know, you would need to have a certain selection available to you to be able to pick from for those things. But really, I mean, it really doesn't take much, but just figuring out your system for organizing these things so that it doesn't become something that you shove into a box and then you forget about it, or you take them out and they just look horrible. You know, you need to find a really good folding method for yourself, a really good system so that things aren't crammed and packed. And I've done that before too, and that doesn't work well, just because you do end up missing some things and forgetting about some things and so on. So since moving here, we now have a beautiful island dresser in our dressing room with a lot of drawers in it. And since I've added this armoire into our room, and I have a lingerie chest as well, that kind of frees up some of those drawers for me, in addition to what I was already using for my dresses. So I have this island in our dressing room, and I have dedicated these 6 drawers to most of my dresses. I do have this one right over here that houses a lot of the winter ones, but these are where I organize the colors. And I love to organize by color because it's like I know what dresses I have, and it is laundry day, so everything isn't put away yet, but this is just an example of what I do, and it kind of gives me an idea of what I have a lot of and what I should probably steer clear of moving forward. But these are basically the colors that I stick with. So the pinks, the blues, a lot of blues, green blues. Most of the greens have to have a bit of blue in them for me to be able to wear it. And then this butter yellow right here. And then of course the whites and creams. So this is just what I basically look through at the end of every week. And after my clothes are done drying, this is where I would end up putting them away in. And I just fold them in half, fold them in half. I lay them out like so, so that the fold is right here at the bottom. And then I just look in here, I can see what it is that I have. Anyway, this is just that little peek into how I am storing these dresses, and it works out really well for me. And having taken everything out of the extra drawers, like all of the extra slips that I had, undergarments, things like that, it really freed up the drawers that I was kind of rolling everything into. So that's another way that I would organize my dresses, is I would roll them. And I like that I don't roll them anymore, because I think that this way is a nicer way to store them, and just to see what it is that I have as it's laid out like so. So if you store your items in a specific way, I would love for you to share in the comments below just how you do that, what works best for you. This can change, and I may even eventually decide to change what I'm doing right now. But I have things broken down into colors because it just makes it so much easier to, decide what dresses I want to pull from for each week, what I'm feeling like in the moment. But regardless, whenever you are having any kind of clothing that you want to take out of your rotation for a time, especially if it's out of season, then having a proper place to store them so that they aren't the things that you are constantly looking at and sifting through on a daily basis makes getting dressed so much easier. Which brings me to today's dress of the day, which is by Taylor. Taylor has been coming out with some really beautiful pink dresses. I feel like I have not had a good pink dress in a while, and there are just so many beautiful pink ones coming out, and I might add the right shade of pink, because it's just been so difficult for me to find something that works well with my coloring. So this one in particular is on the shorter side, shorter than I normally wear. It does show my knees a little, but it's a chiffon overlay dress, very pretty. The print of it is just so sweet. It is the right size print. It's not too tiny, but it's also just above or below the medium size and print. What else can I say about it? It's so lovely. It has this green and pink design to it, and the V-neck is a little lower for me than I like, but that's fine because I pair it with this beautiful slip that has a very nice lace neckline to it that I feel is a great extender. So to me, this doesn't look like your average lace slip. It, to me, looks like it's intended to help, bring up a neckline if desired, or even to extend the length of the hem because of the hem of these slips. They're just beautiful, and I found them on Amazon. I have them linked in my description box below. And they've recently come out with 3 beautiful colors in this light pink color, which is actually called champagne, a butter yellow, and then also this light blue. So anyway, I mention the hem of this because to me, the underskirt of, or the lining of this dress is just a little too short for me. If the dress is shorter than I normally wear, not that I'm against this length though, I think that it's definitely appropriate depending on what I'm doing too, but also the lining is just a little shorter than I like. So having a slip that has that extender to it, I think is perfect, and it just looks like it's part of the dress, and it's so beautiful. So I was so pleased to find this dress, and I love the fabric covered buttons. And this is something that I've been failing to mention every time that there's a dress that I've been sharing that has these fabric covered buttons, but that is my favorite button, is a fabric covered button, the same fabric as the dress. I just think that it is so classic and elegant, and it doesn't draw too much attention to the buttons, but yet the buttons are very beautiful and add just that little extra touch to the dress or whatever item it is. So I would love to know in the comments below, how do you store your off-season items? And also, if you do end up storing your dresses that you're possibly not wearing for that particular week, especially if you have been incorporating a color story into your wardrobe. Now, one of the things that I do love to have on hand, and I think is great for figuring out what items you might want to wear for the week, is a boutique rack. This is a rack that I have had for years now. It was something that my mom purchased for me years ago, and I want to say that we found it on Amazon, but I could be wrong. It could have come from Wayfair or Walmart, but anyway, I found it on walmart.com, and so I do have it linked in my description box, and it's the same one that I have. And this is so wonderful to use to just help kind of add a little extra space and just give you something beautiful to set in your room, have that area that you may be using to get ready in. And I'm so pleased to share today's dressing space, which comes from Tammy. She said, I wanted to send you these pictures with a very grateful heart. Your influence is the reason I began wearing only dresses 3 years ago, and in such a quiet but meaningful way, that choice changed something in me. It helped me embrace femininity with more intention, beauty, softness, and joy. Since then, I have accumulated quite a collection of dresses, and for a long time now, I have kept them color coordinated in our closet. But after watching and being inspired by you, I began to dream of creating a dressing room in our circa 1883 home. I waited to share these pictures because I knew I wanted a garment rack for my weekly color story, and not just any garment rack would do. I wanted one that felt very much like yours, and it was not an easy hunt. It was delivered yesterday, and I truly think it is the perfect addition to the room. My husband also converted our bathroom cabinet into a dressing table, and it has become the perfect place for me to get ready every morning. Like you, I do not want to present myself to the world undone. I have received many compliments from complete strangers while out in public, thanking me for taking the time to dress with care in a world where pajamas and slippers are often considered acceptable attire at the grocery store. Perhaps compliments like that may seem odd in other cultures or even other parts of the country, but here in the South we offer them freely, and people truly do seem to appreciate the femininity of a woman who takes the time to bring beauty into ordinary places. There is something so lovely about seeing my color story waiting for the week ahead. It makes me feel feminine, romantic, and honestly prepared, almost as though the week has been gently gathered before it begins. This room has become such a peaceful place to start my mornings and a quiet retreat in the evenings, especially as I finish the day soaking in our clawfoot tub. I do have up-down blinds for privacy, but I lifted them for the pictures so the room could be seen in the light. I just wanted you to know how thankful I am for your gentle influence. I love both of your channels, and the way you share beauty, femininity, and homemaking has inspired me more than you know. I'm attaching a few pictures of the room. I tried to choose the ones that best show the dressing table, the garment rack, and the peaceful feeling of the space. Blessings, Tammy. Tammy, I feel like I've met my match here. Tammy, this space, I have no words. It is so beautiful. I just cannot get over what you have done. And I feel like even your color stories are or this color story is just perfect. The way that you have that pattern piece and you've gathered all of the different colors that are within it and just the variations of color, it's just beautiful. And then your dressing table too is just so pretty with the items that you have on it. Ooh, I really like that candle that you have there with that floral print on it. But the jars, I can just sit here and look at it for so long. I really like it. And I really like your tissue box holder. And I was going to ask you where you got that, but then I ended up looking for a tissue box holder on Amazon, and I saw something that quite possibly would have been the same, and it was just beautiful. But even the way that the mirror was hung between the windows, I think it's just so wise. You're able to just get natural light in there, and it's so beautiful. Your husband did such a great job. I love that you have a clawfoot tub as well. All of it just looks amazing, and you guys did a wonderful job. And I think that this space, I mean, it's inspired me so much. I am sure it's going to inspire so many other ladies. But something that stood out to me in your writing, which, by the way, beautiful writing, thank you so much, was when you said, people truly do seem to appreciate the femininity of a woman who takes the time to bring beauty into ordinary places. Because that's really, to me, what this is all about, is that we're not saving our best for someday or this special occasion. This is every day, in the ordinary, in the mundane, in the everyday. Not and to wear it every day, but it's part of the everyday. There's a difference there. But anyway, this is truly the message that I hope goes out, is that we are using our best daily, and that it's in all of the ordinary things, and we're just not waiting for some special day. Our life is special occasion enough. So thank you so much, Tammy, for sending in your pictures in such a variety, and they were taken in beautiful lighting and everything, and your space was lovely, and I can see why you really enjoy getting ready there every day. If you have yet to send in your pictures, I hope that you will. You can email me at inspiredbynikkiyt@gmail.com, and all of the requirements to enter for a chance to be able to be featured in one of my videos is in my description box below, and I hope that you will read it before sending it. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope that something in today's video inspired you in some way, and that you will choose beauty every day.